Indeed
no,
it
no
is.
save and quit, wrong word, out of bounds, whatever order you like that. Kind of self-explanatory for most of it. No save and quit. You can't save and quit, which means you also cannot death warp. So it kind of defeats the whole purpose of that. You also have no wrong warp. You cannot take, a door or a cave entrance, something like that, to teleport to an unintended location from, what the game was programmed to be. And then you have the fun one, no out of bounds. Well, that's also what no out of bounds means.
No out of bounds is a definition keeps changing for it, but in this particular case, and for Link's Awakening DX, no out of bounds means that you basically can't be doing things like walking on the ceiling or being on tiles that are more than one tile away from an intended tile. So which means you can do things like clip into the wall a little bit, which we do throughout the run actually, but things like going way the heck out and going to transitions that you're not supposed to, no, none of that.
And the reason it's so confusing, you will actually see later when we get into Dungeon 8. First, let's see, do the players get Quick Sword? Spiraster gets it. Giuocob not really going for it.
He might still get the Quick Sword. There's two versions of it. Spiraster gets the fastest one, and Giuocob can still grab it before... Nope, he gets the Quick Sword. Yeah, the idea there being grab the sword before the owl leaves, and your text box for the sword actually overlaps with the owl flying away, and it saves you about a second. Yeah, damn it, no.
Nothing much really to see here as the players head to the forest. Now, first thing attack you're going to see from these players is the clipping in the walls during their movement. The reason being is it's just simply faster. You might not think it much, but over the course of a long run, if you do that on most screens, that adds up to time save. That's less pixels you're having to move, and, well, it simply adds up.
Yeah, but it's actually pretty simple. You just push into a corner, and Link will clip into a wall by 1 to 3 pixels. It's a lot of times you can't even tell, but it's very subtle. But like a Flame said, it's subtle. It's a little bit of movement optimization, and on top of that, in a few spots, both on the overworld and in dungeons, it'll let us do many tricks, which will save time, minutes in fact, over the course of the entire run. In fact, they are heading off, but putting aside wall clipping for a moment, they're both heading off to do the first major RNG of the run, and in fact, what is the first major reset point for a lot of folks running this game. I'm talking, of course, about the dreaded Moblin skip, because the game wants you to go get magic powder by whatever means you necessary, and then go do a bunch of stuff. But instead, we're just going to skip that whole quest line by having this Moblin use an arrow to launch us across this pit here. And
Spiraster not having any luck.
Giuocob gets it pretty quickly, though. Unfortunately, Spiraster has that... Oh!
No owl skip for Giuocob, though. Will Spiraster get it?
If he gets it... Nope, he does not get it. Yeah, we did say... Remember, we said no save and quit, but that doesn't mean we can't use menus like the save and quit menu to skip cut to skip text boxes in it, because we're going to be doing that throughout the run. And now, I know I did say that we were skipping the whole thing about getting the magic powder for the quest, but we still do need magic powder, so rather than doing the long thing involving going to get the mushroom and taking it to the witch, we're just going to gamble a little bit and play the trendy game here. Because the trendy game does in fact have a pouch of 10 magic powder, and with any luck they'll both get it on the first try. Magic powder being one of those little remaining things where if we could figure out a way to skip the second room in Dungeon 2, we could skip magic powder in its entirety. But until we do that...
For a moment, I thought Giuocob was too early on that. He cut it close.
Yeah. And made bold by his victories at gambling, Giuocob and Spiraster are both on their way to embrace the life of crime and steal from the shopkeeper.
Don't steal, kids.
Stealing is bad. But
so the reason we steal is because, well, as you can see, that shovel costs 200 rupees. We don't have time to grind 200 rupees. Now, we don't really care that much about the shovel. It's used at one point later in the run. However, you see that bow? Nice looking bow at 180 rupees. Yeah, we want that as quick as possible. And some bombs while we're at it.
Yes. And you can't buy bombs until you get the shovel, or steal it in this case, and the bow lets us do many things, because the game doesn't expect you to get it until later, and it does a lot of damage. And not only that, but the bow also combines with the bombs to make bomb arrows, which are a ranged weapon that does a lot of damage, and, as an added bonus, bombs, you don't have to wait for them to explode, they explode as soon as they hit a thing. So very useful to Bo. We'll be using it throughout the run.
Hey, Crunchy, why is Giuocob killing those enemies? They weren't really in his way.
Well, there's actually a very particular reason why he's killing those enemies. That's because now that he has taken the only mandatory death, he's going to start keeping track of his kill count. Because as it turns out, when Giuocob and Spiraster both get 30 kills, a very special item is going to drop for them. A very special item that they want to drop in a particular spot, so they have to count their kills very carefully.
And what is that item called?
Why, that item is called the Piece of Power.
Ooh. More on that later.
Oh yes, because they are counting so they can get to drop in Dungeon 2. And there's a very particular reason for that, which we will mention in Dungeon 2.
You gotta stay tuned till then if you want to find out.
Oh, the suspense, I can barely stand it. Meanwhile, both of them on their way to pick up the Dungeon 1 item, which, for reasons we don't quite understand, the game graciously gives us one of the most broken items in the game right here in Dungeon 1.
And you get to see why it's broken in about 60 seconds. Not long from now. It's the feather. This is one of the most used items in this run, because it allows us to get to places the game didn't really think you'd get to that way.
Yeah, the game pretty much is designed so that you can use it to jump over one tile holes, but you can use it to jump over 2 tile holes, both in a straight line and diagonally. And on top of that, other perks mean that jumping diagonally is faster than walking diagonally. And remember we were talking about wall clipping? Well, the feather lets us do something very special with wall clipping in dungeons. In fact, you watch Giuocob do it here. Just give him a second, and what on the earth did he just do?
Well, he just did something called a super jump. Pretty easy trick to do. The way he did it, he clipped himself into the wall. You only need to clip yourself a pixel, but you can do more. And jump while you're facing the wall, and then use your weapon. Use your weapon while facing away from the wall, and it will actually... the game thinks you're jumping off of a cliff. And that allows you to get to places you weren't really supposed to get to. Like jumping over the key block, and then jumping over those blocks later on.
We are going to be using super jumps in many, many dungeons. It is one of the most useful tricks in this entire run.
Oh
no, Giuocob!
Moldorm being Trolldorm.
Oh no.
Fortunately, it's not a huge time loss, as the mini-boss is right there, but still, it's a time loss. That is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Because in a race like this, where both runners are such experienced runners, you don't want to be making mistakes. You can't count on your opponent doing the same.
Indeed. Both players now finishing up Dungeon 1. And we're gonna go break the game some more, but on our way to breaking the game some more, we're going to be killing more and more enemies. And just because we have some downtime now, we'll go ahead and talk about the Piece of Power, as well as its companion, the Guardian Acorn. We're not really a fan of that.
Alright, so, Piece of Power is a wonderful, wonderful item that lets you move faster, hit harder. In fact, your normal swords will do as much damage as a spin attack, and adds knockback to your attacks. The movement, the extra damage and the movement alone makes us want to route it. But the thing about Piece of Power, unfortunately, is if you enter a cave, enter or leave a cave or a dungeon, you lose it. So we want to make sure that it drops when we're inside a dungeon as early as possible. And that's why we're counting enemies. We're gonna want to drop on the first enemies we kill in Dungeon 2.
Someone in chat pointed out as well, Giuocob's Piece of Power is now actually, his route's a little bit messed up because of that death. That death resets his counter. So more than likely he won't get it at the entrance to D2, but he can still recover his route to get it later on where he wants it.
Yeah, that's why he's actually skipping these enemies now, because he's instead going to plot to get it to hopefully drop in D3.
Now, we also mentioned that the Piece of Power, wow. The Piece of Power has a kind of a companion, the Guardian Acorn. Do you want to talk a bit about that, and why we don't want to pick that up?
Well, the thing about the Guardian Acorn is, you get the Guardian Acorn if you kill, I want to say 10 or 12 enemies, I can never remember, because it doesn't matter.
14, I think? Yeah.
The number honestly doesn't matter, because we really don't care, because the thing about Guardian Acorn is, when it drops, you take half damage if you collect it, but it'll actually push Piece of Power to the next enemy you kill if they drop on the same one, and worst of all, if you have Guardian Acorn, Piece of Power won't drop. So we want to avoid Guardian Acorn.
Indeed, we like that gosh, I'm gonna start saying Pizza Power the entire time. We really want that Piece of Power more than anything. Look at Bow Wow cooperating for Spiraster. How nice.
Well, yeah, Bow Wow is going to be a constant companion for the rest of the game, and Bow Wow will eat things whenever Bow Wow wants to eat things. So we want Bow Wow to eat these flowers fast, and he did for Spiraster, but not for Giuocob.
Speaking of Spiraster, there was his Piece of Power right where he wants it.
Yep. As you can see, he is walking a lot faster, and you will see he also does a lot more damage. Well, when he decides to kill enemies, because he's also, again, keeping track of his kill count, because now that he has Piece of Power, the kill count resets, even while he still has it active.
So let's talk about something else you're going to see these players do that's very important to the run, and that's their menu. During this entire game, we spend a lot of time in the menus, so optimizing that is very important. It's probably one of the biggest time saves you can do in a run, is having a certain menu route, knowing where your cursor is at all times, knowing where your items are at all times, and with the high-end players, they're pretty good about that. So we'll keep an eye on that, see how that goes.
Yeah, they pretty much have figured out exactly what items they need and when, and have made it so they menu as infrequently as possible throughout the run. Because an extra menu adds a couple of seconds to your run, and if you do a lot of extra menuing, it will definitely add up over the course of this run, which is about approximately 1 hour run. But Spiraster making short work of this dungeon so far, picking up the level 1 power bracelet.
That Piece of Power really helps him out with that movement speed. That's what's separating him and Giuocob right now.
Yep.
So this room, if you've ever played this casually, you have to kill these enemies in a specific order or the chest will not spawn. If you mess it up, you have to leave and come back in and try it again. And that Stalfos loves to troll you and get in your way.
Yes, indeed he does. Although I will remark, though, that even though the Piece of Power is giving Spiraster a definite edge here, Dungeon 2 is one of the dungeons where, if you're going to not have Piece of Power in a dungeon, Dungeon 2 is probably the one you want. If Giuocob can recover Piece of Power by D3, and particularly by D5, then he'll be in good shape, because Dungeon 5 is the one where you do not want to miss out on Piece of Power. It is the longest dungeon.
Agreed. Over on Spiraster's screen, fighting a D2 boss, the Djinn. Now, the game intends for you to throw this bottle about 3 times, break it open, and then defeat the Djinn. We're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to clip ourselves into the wall, throw the bottle so it instantly breaks, then use a combination of 1 bomb and the bomb arrow, and he's going to die, boom, very quickly.
Yep, that's another time those bomb arrows are useful. That instant explosion lets us get that second hit before it starts doing its teleport move, which wastes several seconds. And Spiraster wrapping up Dungeon 2 very quickly. Let's see if Giuocob can get that quick kill as well.
It is still pretty easy to mess up the quick kill. However, as long as you get the bottle break, you're typically alright.
Yeah. The bottle break is by far the bigger of the 2 time saves. And he gets it. No problem. Alright, but we're not letting up even for a moment, because Spiraster is on his way to do the next big bit of RNG, which is also another huge skip. I'm of course talking about Villa Skip. But, Flame, why on earth would they want to skip a villa? That's a house. What does that even mean?
Fun fact, it's not RNG, but it really does feel like it most days. So, at this point, the game intends for you to return Bow Wow, do a fairly long side quest to ultimately get the D3 key. We're not going to do any of that, because that's slow. We're speedrunners. So instead, we're going to keep Bow Wow and actually use a pit that's coming up. Now, when you jump into a pit, you kind of go around it, and eventually you fall in. If we buffer the pause menu on the frame where you hear the audio of Link falling in, just like that, push down coming out of the menu, boom, you transition to the next screen. And you just skipped a huge side quest.
Although, to be fair, the global frame rule, which is what decides how many pause buffers you take, that is the only bit of RNG the Villa skip, so the rest of it's execution, but there is a little bit that's beyond your control there. So we have seen some folks get as many as, like, 15, 16 pause buffers or more, but Spiraster gets a very nice 3 buffer.
Now, you might have noticed Dungeon 1, we found, like, an extra keyhole on the side of it. Turns out there's one here as well. You just gotta know how to use it.
Wall clips, everybody.
They are your friend.
There are very well-designed keyholes on Colon Island.
So Dungeon 3, again, we'll be getting Piece of Power in here. However, that'll be about midway through the dungeon. For Giuocob, I don't know where he'll get it. I do expect him to get it. And the good thing is there are extra enemies in here he can kill to get back on track.
Yes, there's a lot of very convenient, easy-to-kill enemies in Dungeon 3, so he can get back on track very easily here. And Piece of Power is not necessary in Dungeon 3, but it definitely helps because there's one major skip we do in Dungeon 3, which is a lot easier with Piece of Power because there's a potential for a soft lock, and Piece of Power makes it a lot less likely to happen.
Spiraster getting his Piece of Power right where he wanted it, and let's head over to that soft lock opportunity. It is the Dongo skip. So just gotta move quickly and do it. Look, you gotta show us this, Spiraster.
Come on. There we go.
There we go. Gotta do a super jump there and use your sword to clank off those Dodongos. If you do it too slow, you will actually get stuck in those blocks and be soft locked. Meanwhile, on Giuocob's screen, there's his Piece of Power. A bit early, but hey, he got it.
Yeah, but interesting.
He gets it in Dungeon 5 now.
Yep, he has to be careful though. Depends on how much Bow Wow eats, because that's the thing. I know I said normally you'd want to get it early on, but in Dungeon 3 we get it a little bit later, and that's because there's a lot of potential for Bow Wow eating things on the way to before we get to Dungeon 5. And if we get too far ahead, we might get Piece of Power dropping before D5, and that's something we definitely want to avoid. And
we're right back to the Dongo skip, part 2. Spiraster avoiding the soft locks. Now, per tournament rules, if the players were to soft lock there, they would be allowed to save and quit and restart. Also, in the event of an accidental death warp, or an accidental save and quit, the player has to return to the area where they died, or save and quit before they can continue.
Yes, indeed, because we understand that sometimes, since we use the save and quit menu for a lot of things, it's totally possible for an accident, but in that case, get back to where you were, because otherwise, it's a death warp, and we're not down for that. We're trying to play fair here.
Something we forgot to talk about, you saw it entering D2, and you actually just saw it over there on Giuocob's screen. There's something called a flock clip, and you'll see it again later on, where if we clip ourselves into the wall and push against a key block or a block you can pick up, something like that, you can actually use the text box to clip yourself even farther into the wall. And with that, you can just walk right past the obstacle.
Yes, indeed. Wall clip continues to prove how useful it is, and the fact that the game lets you move 1 pixel during dialogue boxes is something else we get to abuse.
Spiraster having some fun with a bomb there.
And let's see, now, he's about to try something here, and he does not get it. But that's okay, because the more important thing, but similar trick he's about to try, can totally break this race wide open.
Oh boy, we're coming up to, once again, another soft lock opportunity. We're coming up to Walrus Skip. This trick is such a pain sometimes that the players are actually allowed a backup save file for this. And I didn't look to see if either of them had one, just in case of a soft lock.
Well, they both had other files on their screens, but I didn't count the heart, so I can't tell you if they were actually prepared for Walrus Skip backups or not.
Hopefully, if all goes well, we will not need to know.
Well, we have pretty good strats prepared that are generally safe and don't cause the soft lock, but it's the fact that it still happens is why we allow this. It's late enough in the run that at this point, getting that soft lock will cost everything.
So at this point, we're supposed to have the ocarina, and I think it's Use That and Marin or some song to wake this dude up. We're not doing that. Instead, witness the power of bombs. So would you like to explain what he just did?
Oh, would I? So, I remember I said that the Rock's Feather is one of the most broken items in the game. Most broken item? Bombs. Because the game is actually programmed so that you can't have 2 bombs at once. But if you drop a bomb on a screen transition, the game will let you drop one as soon as you finish transitioning, which means you've just dropped 2 bombs within 4 frames. And if you do that, the game gets really confused, because you shouldn't be able to do that. And for reasons that we're not 100% certain of, we think it has something to do with memory address overwriting. The game instead just triggers an event on whatever screen you're on.
So this boss on Spiraster's screen, by the way, that was Landmula. I hope you enjoyed. You will not be seeing him again later.
Yeah, Landmula mastered invisibility. Or also known as, this is why you don't program hitboxes for bosses you can't see.
So, and fun fact, you may have noticed on Spiraster's screen and right now on Giuocob's screen, they've entered this random cave. That's not random. They were locked out of using their menu or their A and B buttons until they entered the cave because of that walrus skip.
And Helior, it actually is not screen transitions, because you can do bomb triggers without screen transitions. In fact, you'll be seeing that. You might be seeing that in Dungeon 7. It is very much the bombs that are the key.
So now, this is kind of a long overworld section. First, we had to go all the way here to get to the Dungeon 4 key. Now we gotta go a long way to get to the Dungeon 4 keyhole. And then from there, we still have to go another long way to get to the actual Dungeon 4 entrance. So it's very important you don't forget any of these steps.
Yes, indeed, because forgetting the Dungeon 4 key just makes you feel like a bit of a dope.
Good thing no one's done that, right, Crunchy?
Don't patronize me. You know very well that I did that. But because I did it, that means no one else has to.
You could have gone with it. You didn't have to admit that.
I'm not afraid to admit to my mistakes, Flame.
We've had a little bit of everything this tournament. We had the walrus skip soft lock from a player who forgot their save file. We've had missing in Dungeon 4 keyhole. We've had controller issues.
Yeah, it's been a wild tournament in all the best ways. It's been and now look, there's our good friend, the Dungeon 4 entrance. So happy. Look at him.
So this is one of those parts in the run where Bow Wow can really mess you up by eating too much or too little. So hopefully Spiraster's Bow Wow is eating just the right amount. We don't actually want a piece of power in Dungeon 4. However, as soon as we leave, we go straight to Dungeon 5, and that is where we absolutely want to have piece of power.
Yep. Which you think might be a concern, because, you know, you generally do a lot of killing things in dungeons, but the thing is, Dungeon 4 is a little bit special in this case, because we're actually going to go in there, get the dungeon item, and then not finish it. We're going to leave. But there's a very particular reason for that.
Hold on, watch Spiraster. Obstacle skip.
Oh, obstacle skip. 1 out of 4.
So, obstacle skip is a bit of a meme in the community. If you get it, it saves a couple frames. If you fail it, it loses a couple seconds. It's not really worth it, but still, we like to have fun with it.
Everyone attempts it every single time. It's just something you do.
Like, if you fail it once, it was not worth it. Giuocob, realizing he was not in position, decided not to even go for it.
Disqualified.
So, Dungeon 4, the first half, it can be a bit of a pain. There's a lot of opportunities to take a lot of damage. There's some dumb jumping involved, as you're getting ready to see.
Oh yes, Dumb Jump Room number 1, as we call it, coming up here, involving jumping around a cracked block, and it's surprisingly tricky, but Spiraster getting it no problem.
Nice.
Oh, getting the extra dialogue box on the cracked block, though.
Yeah, that was Dumb Jump 1. It is dumb.
And now time for this silly jump. But he gets it no problem. Wall clipping makes that jump a lot easier, as it turns out.
And now we're gonna fight the Dungeon 4 mini-boss, our good friend Q-Ball.
And we hope you like him, because you'll be seeing him again later. Oh, unfortunately...
Giuocob's struggling. That enemy getting in his way.
Yeah, and sometimes if people have trouble with Dumb Jump 1, you'll see them actually use a bomb arrow to blow up that block, and that's a totally fair strategy, because the amount of time you lose to the drowning animation is long enough that, do it a couple of times, you might as well have just pulled out the bomb arrows at that point.
Now, Crunchy, you mentioned we're getting ready to leave this dungeon. Why are we leaving and not just finishing it?
Well, because this game, unfortunately, has this little side quests thing that it likes to do, and if you finish Dungeon 4, you suddenly make a friend, a ghosty friend, and this ghosty friend wants you to take him on a grand tour of the island, to his old house down by the beach, and then all the way back to his grave, and unfortunately, while this ghosty friend is there, you can't go into other dungeons, which is terrible. It takes minutes to go through all this whole thing, but, as it turns out, the game is actually checking for something else, and that's the level 2 power bracelet. If you have the level 2 power bracelet, the ghost doesn't spawn, so we're just going to take this chance to come down here and do Dungeons 5 and 6 real quick, because Dungeon 5, we just want to knock it out, and it's good for piece of power routing, and Dungeon 6, because we get the level 2 power bracelet, and once we've done that, we can go back, do Dungeon 4, and have no problems.
Now, one thing I've noticed on Spiraster's screen, I have not seen Piece of Power, so he might get it right where he wants it, at the entrance of Dungeon 5. Meanwhile, on Giuocob, I haven't seen it drop either, so he may be right back on track.
Certainly hoping so. So usually you'll see it in not this room, but the next room. The one that has the 4 bats and the Helmosaur. So we'll see. And he doesn't get it. Hopefully he'll get it in the. Hopefully he'll be getting it in the next room with the. I always forget what they're called. Those annoying skeleton guys.
The Stalf. I think they're
Stalfos.
Stalfos.
Yes, yes.
Now, alternatively, if it doesn't drop here, that could mean that it dropped on Cue Ball.
Oh no, that'd be
If
bad.
it was scheduled to drop on Cue Ball, it won't actually drop, and your piece of power counter resets back to 0, but that's not an issue. There it is.
It might have gotten pushed back 1 by the Guardian Acorn, but the important thing is he gets it, and he gets it early, and this is... He's going to want to hang on to this for the entirety of the dungeon, because this is a long dungeon, and there's a trick later on in the dungeon where Piece of Power makes it easier.
Yeah, and as you said, this is a long dungeon, and it involves a lot of backtracking. I can't speak to that.
Yep, and that's all because of this one dingus right here, Master Stalfos. I hate this guy. He's the reason this dungeon is so long.
So we get to fight him a grand total of 4 times. And ultimately, the reward will be getting the hook shot, the dungeon item. Now, you have to fight him in 4 different rooms, and you have to fight him in those rooms in a specific order, or he just won't spawn.
Yep, the order is the killer part, because the 4th room is the one that we were right next to get that first key. We're gonna have to go all over the dungeon and then go all the way back over there to finish him off. Now, here's the thing about Master Stalfos. It takes 3 bombs, 2 bombs, 2 bombs, and 3 bombs in order for the encounters to finish him off, to get him to go away. If you do bomb arrows, you can actually hit him 3 times in the 2nd and 3rd encounter, and it'll actually trigger a death animation. But unfortunately, he still doesn't drop the hook shot. He just drops more dungeon keys. So you have to do the 4 fights in the 4 locations. It's inevitable.
It'd be so nice if we found a way to skip it. But we need that hook shot.
We need the hook shot.
Now, I haven't seen Piece of Power yet on Giuocob's screen, so I'm wondering where it actually was scheduled to drop.
He might have gotten it on Cue Ball, or... At this point, though, he's late enough in the dungeon that it's probably not worth it for him to try to get it at this point.
No. Now, you might wonder, why would it not be worth it? Well, picking it up does take time, and while it's not a lot of time, it's still time. Not only that, we're actually going to want to lose Piece of Power right before the boss of this dungeon. We'll get into why when we get closer. First off, it's Dumb Jump 2, and Spiraster gets it first try.
Very nice. Yeah, that bridge that over there with the hook on it, the game intends you for to get the hook shot, which you remember is really far away from here. You basically casually have to traipse across this dungeon multiple times to get everything. But we're basically minimizing it by doing a dumb jump and praying for a Piece of Power.
And for that jump in particular, if you're used to it with Piece of Power, if you don't have it when you get there, it throws off your timing tremendously.
Yes, because of the Pegasus charge, and also because placement is very important. One of the keys for that jump is actually standing on the line between 2 tiles, because you land in the middle of a tile, usually global frame rules won't help you, but if you land halfway between a tile, it gives you just enough wiggle to be able to make it across at the end, which is why you always see him kind of do the little about to fall movement before he gets to the other side.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people struggle with that in this tournament, but both are our players tonight getting it first try. Spiraster struggling with Master Stalfos here.
His hitbox is a bit weird. It's happened to me as well, where you try to do a spin attack and you just don't quite get it, even though you swear your sword went through him.
I notice Giuocob now has Piece of Power. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I didn't get a good look at where he picked it up.
It's very late in Dungeon 5, because you'll see Spiraster do this. As he's approaching the Dungeon 5 boss, he's actually going to take a hit on a spark to take the last hit or 2 in order to lose it, because, like Flame said, in this particular boss, one of the properties of Piece of Power, mainly its knockback, makes the boss harder, so you don't want to have it.
A fun fact, even with his death early on, both these players are still very close together.
Everyone's joking, these are both top-notch players, and Giuocob is not... Oh, he gets the 1-frame jump to make it across that gap faster. Nice. That
jump is more difficult than it looks. Spiraster, there he goes, losing his Piece of Power right on cue.
Oh
no!
Oh no! Oh well.
He gets another.
Now he's just gonna have to go give the spark a hug here. There we go.
Wow, but unfortunately, that now puts him at 2 hearts. Now, if you've ever seen Wall Snake, it's easy to take extra damage here, so he's got to be a little on the careful side. Now,
As long as you're not staying on the top center or side center, you should be fine, but you still can't afford to be sloppy.
so you want to explain a bit about Wall Snake?
Oh,
Why
all
he's
right.
such a pain?
Wall Snake is a pain because he randomly pops out of his head out of one of these 4 holes in the wall, and it's usually, if you're good, you can get him out regardless of which hole it is, but sometimes it can be really tricky depending on the tail, and you have to hit him 8 times. And Piece of Power makes it so that you can't. It's harder to get 4 hits on one cycle, which is what you want.
They're getting it in 2 cycles. Giuocob might do the same.
Yep.
Nice.
Both of them having a really good Wall Snake. Yeah, no, to Giuocob's credit, he is staying right on Spiraster's tail despite the death and despite not having Piece of Power for Dungeon 5, which Spiraster did have, which is usually a sizable time loss.
Indeed. Now both players going to head to D6, but first we have to take a detour at the Armos Maze.
The Armos Maze, because like Dungeon 1 and Dungeon 3 and Dungeon 4, Dungeon 6 is locked by a key. So you have to go down to the Armos Maze, where Bow Wow is our friend again, because Armoses are terrible. They do 2.5 hearts of contact damage, and you can bump them out of the way with your shield, but you'd rather just have Bow Wow eat them, because we haven't talked yet about the importance of bombs and arrows in this game.
That is right. Our bombs and arrows, we don't have a lot to spare. We route this in so that you have just enough for what you need, and running out can be a huge issue. Now with the Armos Maze, every time Bow Wow eats one of the Armos, or if you killed one for some reason, they actually are guaranteed to drop an arrow. And it's very important that we pick up at least a couple for the next dungeon.
Yes, because as it turns out, the arrows are actually critical later on for not just using bomb arrows, but also for the final boss, which arrows are they're not the only way to kill him, but it's the only way to do it without wasting minutes.
Right? So coming up, a little bit of a mini-boss. There's a couple different ways of doing this. I expect to see both strat from both players, or the same strat from both players, which is using the boot.
Yep, boot strats. Boot strats are the faster strat, but they're also the more dangerous one, because you're right up in its face, and I am so sorry. Who the hell is calling me at this hour?
So you can see Spiraster getting that right away. 6 hits, he's dead. The biggest thing you want to avoid is being on the ground when the dude hits the ground. That will stun you, and you're going to take some damage. Which is why you want to bonk into the wall just the right time that you're in the air.
Yep, because this enemy does a lot of damage.
Spiraster ignoring that arrow. At this point, he probably has enough to get through the next dungeon. And I believe in that dungeon, there's an arrow refill.
Yes, there is in fact one that you pick up in Dungeon 6.
As you can see, he got quite a few extras from that. Now, these screens coming up are also a bit of a pain. You have those bomb fairies, and they just love to wreck you. Throw a bomb, knock you back, try and kill you. See? Now, fun fact, right inside that bombable wall up there is a fairy fountain if you ever need this. If you ever need it when you're playing casually.
In this case, you'll see both of them swim around that island to the left, even though the right would be faster, because by doing that, you can force Bow Wow to eat that left Armos.
Right,
and speaking of Bow Wow eating...
So, a fun little thing here.
Just like that.
So, Bow Wow is probably the most powerful being in the Zelda universe. He can eat cutscenes.
Mm-hmm, sure can.
And those cutscenes actually count towards your Piece of Power routing. And we have seen Piece of Power drop from a cutscene before. That happened the other night.
Oh, really? I must have missed that.
Yes, it wasn't. I don't think it was a tournament race.
Okay.
So yeah, by shooting that bomb arrow at the left wall, cutscenes are actually, I guess they're invisible sprites, and it moves a sprite over just enough that it's in the position where Bow Wow can eat it. And you'll see that again in Dungeon 7.
Yeah, basically, it's like the game assigns the sprite of the explosion to the cutscene, and then Bow Wow sees that sprite and can eat it, and yeah. We'll be doing this again.
So, on Spiraster's screen, you might notice he just got the level 2 power bracelet. Now, if you were paying attention, taking notes, you will know, at this point in time, we can now go back to Dungeon 4 and complete it without having to worry about that ghost side quest.
Hooray!
And now a little fun bit of sorcery over on Spiraster's screen. He just pushed against that pot, used his hook shot, and now he's just gonna stand here.
Yep. For some reason, if you're right up against the pot and you use the hook shot, well, you just become invincible.
The game thinks you're still hook shotting, and when you're hook shotting, you're invincible.
Yep, the state of being... This hook shot lets you do some unusual things, such as being invincible, and also something else funny involving jumping in pits later, but we're gonna come to that in a moment. Well, in a little bit.
This room. It's pretty easy now.
It's time for parkour!
So this is going to look a little bit weird, but there's a reason for it. Do a little super jump there, and it lines you up to be able to do that super jump there without having to walk up farther and clip yourself into the wall and kill those enemies.
Parkour! It totally looks like it, though.
Fun fact, you have to throw the pot into that chest to open it. And right there, another flock clip. Now a dangerous super jump. Now it's pretty easy to soft lock on this, however, we also have a very consistent visual cue so that you can avoid that.
Oh hey, it's Dongo Snakes again. Hi to Dongo Snakes. Bye to
And
Dongo
we're just gonna
Snakes.
skip them.
Alright, but now it's time for the most skill-intensive part of Dungeon 6.
I hope our players have trained for this moment.
Yeah,
I have seen it wreck so many runs.
Yeah, here we go. Horse heads, come on, Spiraster, show us the fruits of your training. Oh. 2, 3, third try. Needs more practice.
So, those horse heads have a 50-50 chance of landing upright, and you need them both to land upright in order for you to progress. So, yeah, RNG BS.
Oh my god, what the hell's going on here?
Let's see, Giuocob. Giuocob taking a bit longer, but only 4.
Alright, but Spirits are coming up on the most head-scratching boss in the entire game here.
It is Facade. So, fun fact, much like Landla, you can get hits in before the boss should have a hitbox. He's over halfway dead.
5 bombs and he's gone, and we already dealt most of that. But that said, it's still can't afford to be careless here. Those tiles will do a heart of damage, and you can still die here. Take my word for it, it happened to me in a race.
Well, I've done it so many times. And that is Dungeon 6 completed at this point. We're going to head on back to Dungeon 4 and knock that out of the way before progressing.
Yep. Poor Dungeon 4, though. It's probably the most abused dungeon in this run, because we split it in half, and then we don't even do we barely do anything intended. We jump around things, we do weird 90-degree jumps, and then we just skip pretty much all the sideways sections.
Both players still neck and neck. Probably only about 20 seconds of separation.
Oh, Spiraster getting a bomb trigger there to skip the owl cutscene. Unfortunately, you can't skip the text, but you don't have to deal with the owl flying in and flying out, which saves a few seconds.
Just a short path over to D4.
Yeah, thankfully it's not too far. The D4 is right along the way to knock it out and then just head up to the last 2 dungeons up in the mountains.
Giuocob also getting the bomb trigger on the owl skip. Nice.
They are just staying so neck to neck. That's the thing, though. There's still enough RNG left in the run, and also just enough difficult tricks that, despite the fact that Spiraster has a not small lead, this could still turn around very easily.
We haven't even gotten to the hardest trick of the run.
We certainly haven't.
And for once, we're actually serious.
Oh no, yeah. What are you talking about? I've been serious this entire time. Are you telling me you're not taking this seriously?
Anyway, back to Spiraster screen. So another fun super jump coming up. We're actually going to wait for it. See that P hat right there next to us? We're going to use it to our advantage.
We sure are. Just like that.
Boom. Boss key. Well, if you open the chest.
And then we're going to take advantage of the fact that the Rock's Feather is broken to do another wild diagonal jump just like that. That was
hey,
not
we're at the
intended.
boss.
Yep.
So, this is Anglerfish.
I love bomb arrows. They're so great.
That was Anglerfish.
Sashimi for everybody. Again, the game really doesn't expect you to have bow and arrow at this point, so being able to do bomb arrows just makes that boss a joke.
Indeed. An alternate strat, you can spin slash him right as you fall down, and then just use 2 bomb arrows. It's all personal preference.
Yeah. They're probably comparable speed. It's not like one is not substantially faster over the other. But with this, both of them finishing Dungeon 4, that means the next thing they have to do
This is what could make or break the race.
Absolutely. And in fact, you saw Giuocob practicing it beforehand, and we didn't see Spiraster, so I'm not actually sure what strategy he does, although I'm willing to bet they both do it unbuffered.
Indeed. So, just for reference, so coming up soon is going to be Rooster Skip. It's probably the hardest trick in the run.
Yes.
It's not like other tricks where if you fail it, it's only a minor time loss. This one loses you about 30 seconds. So if Spiraster fails it once and Giuocob gets a first try, suddenly Giuocob's in the lead.
Yep. The Rooster Skip is difficult for a number of reasons. First of all, remember we were talking about the hookshot having a lot of weird things about it? Well, it turns out, if you jump onto a pit and you fire the hookshot before you fall, the game isn't checking if you're standing on a pit while the hookshot's out. And also, when the hookshot comes back, retracts, you have one frame where the game is not checking, so you can actually jump with the Rock's Feather on that one frame. And we're going to use that to do 2 jumps over a massive pit.
But first, we have a more important jump. Obstacle Skip.
Obstacle Skip.
Number 2 for Spiraster.
Yes, but it's, like I said, it's 2 one-frame jumps. So a lot of folks, myself included, and I think you do as well, Flay, and we do it using save and quit buffering, because there's actually a frame we look for, and then we can use the save and quit menu in the menu to buffer to jump on the correct frame. But these 2 guys are old hands. They're going to do it without buffering. And they need to do it without buffering, because if they fall, these holes will actually drop you back outside. So that's 30 to 40 seconds of loss. And here we go. Oh, he's doing the buffering.
Dude, nice. Another fun fact, if Bow Wow gets in front of you during this, you can actually clank off of him with your hook shot, and it will just wreck your day. You will fall.
Yeah, there's actually 3 things that can go wrong beyond your control. One is Bow Wow, the other one is...
Oh no!
Oh! Global frame rules, just like that. Because much in the same way that the Villa Skip can take more or fewer pause buffers. Oh, and Giuocob going for the unbuffered, and... Oh, first try!
Nice! And just like that, Giuocob is in the lead!
God, what's I talking? Oh, global frame rules, right. It's actually possible to shoot the hookshot and still fall down if global frame rules aren't on your side, and also, Bow Wow can get on your way. And there's one more thing I'm just totally forgetting right now. Yes, if you're pause buffering like that, it's possible to get the bad...
Oh, no, Bow Wow!
Bow Wow, no!
Oh, no! So close. That was so unfortunate.
Oh god, he's gotten 2 of the 3. The last one is subpixel, because we're actually watching for the 1 pixel where the hookshot is flush with Link's nose. It's actually possible to miss that, just completely subpixel based, and beyond your control. If that happens, you just have to start slamming on that hookshot button and hope that you can get it out again before you fall. So this is still, even with doing everything right, this trick can still go wrong, which is why it's such a dangerous and difficult trick.
And we won't stress, this is still anybody's race.
Yeah, because the thing is, this is one of the biggest potential time losses, but there's still several things that can happen later on in this run that can totally lose an equal amount of time, if not more. So, Spiraster's not out of this, not by a long shot.
Keep an eye on Giuocob's screen. We got another cutscene coming up if Bow Wow cooperates, and he does, even though you can't hear it. Meanwhile, Spiraster finally getting the game out. So, coming up next, Dungeon 7.
Oh boy, Dungeon 7.
We got a lot to say. So,
Bomb triggers the dungeon.
Casually, this is a very long dungeon. You gotta get that heavy ball, throw the pillars to destroy them. Nah, bro. We're not doing that. Behold the power of bomb triggers.
Yes, and with any luck, we'll actually see one of them do it the non-screen transition way, because like I said, the only requirement for bomb triggers is drop 2 bombs within 4 frames. So Giuocob's doing it with transitions, but you see those pits? When you drop a bomb in a pit, it doesn't count as being on the floor, so you can drop more bombs. Right there. Giuocob did it right there.
Unbuffered, too.
Unbuffered.
I'm getting a quick naked super jump.
Yeah. That's actually dangerous, because if you're not dropping bombs fast enough, you can actually drop all your bombs and not trigger anything. So you gotta be fast. You have to be mashing really fast. So it's faster, but more dangerous.
So it was very good by Giuocob. But still coming up to some more RNG. We'll see what strategy he chooses to do to get to the boss.
Oh, that's right, because we don't actually get the boss key in this dungeon. It's actually, there's 2 ways you can actually skip the boss door. The faster one involves RNG placement of Goombas. The other one does not. So we'll see what Giuocob does here. He's an older runner, so he might actually opt to not to do the.
He's not doing Goomba Surf. He's just going ahead and do it the old-fashioned way. Now, optimally, this actually takes an extra 10-15 seconds. However, if your RNG and luck is bad, then this might actually save some time. Nice little P-Hat clank. Fun fact, it looks like you get soft locked if you land well at the top of the screen. You do not.
It's actually possible to do a naked super jump to get back down, but it is tricky. In fact, even if you know how to do it, even if you know it's there, it's not as simple as just trying to super jump. You have to do a particular placement involving the hook shot, the pot, and I actually forgot how to do it during my run and had to save and quit. I remember.
Oh, I don't even know how. Over on Giuocob's screen, we're gonna break Evil Eagle 3 bombs, and he's going to be dead.
Thankfully, there's so
much easier than doing this casually.
Yeah, but thankfully there's a really simple visual cue, which is if you buffer you leave the screen when he first appears and buffer a bomb, it'll always hit him as long as he flies at your level, and then just pick up and throw the next bomb every time he leaves the screen, and there you go. Do that for the next 2 hits, and you're done.
Now, if you defeat him and you fall off before you grab the heart, sorry, you're gonna have to redo. Now let's watch Spiraster. He is going for Goomba Surf.
Ooh, see if he gets it.
This is RNG dependent.
Oh
wow, that RNG!
That's perfect luck.
That probably saved him about 20 seconds over Giuocob, but Giuocob struggles with that super jump.
Oh yeah, he definitely gained time back on that.
So you need that Goomba to move to the top right as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're gonna start losing time. And man, was Spiraster lucky.
Yeah, so you'll see him buffer that first bomb, and you stay down right there until it appears to make sure it shows up at the same level. And he's doing it. He's throwing the bomb as it flies off the top of the screen, and just like that, 3 bombs, 3 hits.
Now, something you just saw on Giuocob's screen, you're going to see Spiraster doing it after leaving D7. What the game intends for you to do is walk straight down and fall into a pit and end up, well down in the water over by D4. However, fun fact, we can skip that pit.
Yes, indeed. Using this magic of save and quit menu on the screen, buffering it on the screen transition, the game actually lets you regain a little bit of control, just enough to actually push your way down and not drop in that pit.
So, we're not done talking. You just saw Giuocob skip Marin there. Now, if you're too close to her and you actually talk to her just by being too close, you have about a minute-long cutscene. That's a huge time waste. Fortunately, Giuocob not having an issue. All you gotta do is stay low as you can be when you jump.
Yeah, with the old route, which is the route when I first started playing this game, we actually used to do D8 before D7, which let you use the magic rod for Evil Eagle, which made him an absolute laugh, and 2 means that you didn't have to skip Marin, which was better for my heart. Instead, we have to do this, which a little part of me dies every time I run this game.
Now, another skip coming up over on Giuocob's screen. You might know this cave coming up. There's a flame here. You're meant to have the mirror shield to get past this. However, you might have noticed...
Uh-oh.
No. You might have noticed we have actually picked up the mirror shield in D7. So what we're going to do is clip ourselves into that wall, dash on up, and you won't get knocked back by the flames because we're clipped into the wall.
Yep, the wall clip, again, wall clip letting you do stuff you're not supposed to be able to do. And we're not even done with bomb triggers yet, doing all sorts of things we can't do here.
Yeah, because again, we don't have the ocarina, so we have to use the power of bomb triggers to open up D8.
Yes. And to be honest, between this and the rooster skip alone, not having to get the ocarina and B do signpost maze to get the
wow,
minutes.
Giuocob just walking straight on through. Yeah, fun fact, no hitbox on that boss.
Not at all. This reminds me of the first boss from Star Tropics. You just basically walk right through when it opens its mouth. It's pretty much what you do here.
So D8 is a bit of a maze. However, courtesy of, us knowing the layout plus bomb arrows, we're going to break it a bit.
Yeah.
And super jumps.
Yeah, despite being the biggest dungeon in the game, we're going to make it short work of it. D5 is longer than this dungeon. We know the route, we're just going to plow right through it. And between the super jumps, bomb arrows, and just knowing where all the secrets are, we don't even need to worry about anything.
And hey, we can push that block from the side. Don't ask why. Again, the power of wall clipping.
Yeah, because since you're clipped into the block, when you try pushing it from the side, the game's not sure which side of the block you're on, and it's like, sure, you can push it.
And another super jump coming up, and we're gonna make our way over to the first mini-boss we fight, Bueno. Bring back Bueno skip. So, that really confusing out-of-bounds definition at the beginning is because of that room right there.
Yes. Because using super jumps, you can't actually not get up to that chest without coming down here. But because of the change in the definition to out of bounds, we can't step on that block anymore because it would be out of bounds. So you have to fight Blaine.
Even though it looks like you can step on that normally, there's actually no way to access it without super jumps. Therefore, it's out of bounds.
Therefore, it's out of bounds. But now we have the magic rod, which shoots fire, and there's no magic meter, so you can just shoot as much fire as you want.
Fire, fire everywhere.
And this is all. And the magic rod is also important for the most important trick of the entire run.
Indeed, you'll see that at the very end of this dungeon.
At least you'd better, otherwise they're both disqualified from running this game forever.
You know, I realized, no joke, I realized at work today I forgot that trick. I didn't even try for it in my PB. But first, it's Giuocob!
Hey, remember this guy? He hopes you do.
Yeah, he's still easy.
And now it's time for the one. Now it's time for the room that is different for everyone. In this room,
we all love this room. It's our favorite room.
You have to use the Roomba to fill in the ground over the entire thing. The thing is, you can actually jump while it's moving, although you don't jump in the direction you're holding. It's a little bit weird. So because of that, everyone has a slightly different pattern for how they move the Roomba and how they jump. You almost never see two people do it the same way.
Your main goal there is just to be as close to that chest as possible when it spawns.
Yep.
Plain and simple. So now you're going to see another trick over on Giuocob's screen. Jesus jumping time.
Hi-oh.
So, fun fact, we're going to jump into this lava pit, and if we pause on the frame right there where you see splash particles, you actually get pushed down a pixel, which clips you into the wall, which lets you super jump over to Hothead.
Hothead's a terrible boss because its health is kind of random, and so you want to basically kill it in one cycle. Oh god, it does so much damage with those lava pellets too.
We honestly still don't know how his health works. We've tried.
Oh no, Giuocob gets on the third cycle now. Oh gosh, having a lot of
This is allowing Spiraster to catch up.
It is. Oh, get him before he drops! Oh, he finally gets him.
Nice. But that gave Spiraster a lot of time to catch up, and the last boss in this game still has a ton of RNG involved.
The final form of the
final
boss. Still
anybody's race.
Oh, Giuocob, is he going to get the most important trick?
Oh, he didn't even try!
He didn't even try!
Oh my gosh!
Banned from
Can we
LADX.
ban this guy, please? Take him off the layout.
If Spiraster gets it, he gets the automatic win.
Agreed, at least in our hearts.
Oh. Oh, those lava dodges. Oh, those lava. Okay, he's on the second. You might get a 2-cycle.
Nicely done.
All right, now let's see if he gets the most important trick, the validation trick.
If he doesn't, we're gonna have some words.
Oh,
he goes for it.
When boys!
In our hearts, Spiraster has already won this race.
And as it turns out, because all the RNG involved in the last boss, he might still win the race, because they are still very close to each other.
Indeed. So, Giuocob and now Spiraster heading over to the Windfish Egg. Now, first of all, long cutscene with the owl, and then afterwards, again, we're supposed to have the ocarina. We don't have it. So, using the power of bomb triggers, we will open up the egg.
Thankfully, Link is a child prodigy when it comes to playing the bomb. He makes beautiful music with him. Just watch him. Watch him jam on those bombs. Performance was explosive. Are you gonna be okay?
Damn it, man. I was not prepared for playing the bomb.
No one ever is.
I will never not think that anymore.
Happy to help. But the thing there's more weird stuff going on at the egg than just...
Not only is there more weird stuff, there's another bomb trigger coming up. We're not done.
But even before that, just... Correct me if I'm wrong, aren't you supposed to go through a long trading sequence and then read a book to figure out what the passageways of the egg are?
Indeed you are, but guess what? We're speedrunners, we're not doing it!
That's right. Because it turns out the game only generates that route when you actually read the book. So if you don't read the book, there's a default sequence, and we know what that default sequence is.
Left up, right up, left up. We will be at the boss. Now, there's a lot to explain here, so bear with us. This boss has 6 phases. Some of them go very quickly. First off, you're going to see the players spam their bombs when they fall down this hole. That is to skip, hopefully, if they get the bomb trigger, as he did, it skips a very, very long text box.
Oh gosh,
and consequently, no music.
opening as many before he touches on the ground is a little bit risky.
Indeed. Now let's see as he gets the Landmilla quick kill. Well, he does!
The blob quick kill. The blob quick kill.
My apologies.
But now it's time for everyone's favorite RNG dork face, Aghanim.
So if Spiraster fails the tech skip and the blob quick kill, wow. See how this goes.
Alright, so he's got the first two shots are free. Now from here on out there's a 50-50 chance he could get yellow, he could get blue balls, much like Aghanim in Link to the Past. The difference is there is no maximum number of blue balls. You can get blue balls until the end of your days.
Spiraster not getting a quick kill, that is unfortunate.
Oh,
he is still RNG.
Giuocob getting no blue balls. That's perfect.
Right here, he stunlocks Moldorm to get a quick kill on that as well. 16 hits, he is out of here and on to Ganon.
So this is looking bad for Spiraster, but the final form is one of the worst RNG aspects of the entire game, so he's still not out of it. He is still not out of it, even now.
Hey look, now it's Landmilla.
Well,
and
no,
you
it's
still
not.
didn't see Landmilla.
And now it's time for Deathel.
Oh, you know, this could still go Spiraster's way, but it's going to take a lot of bad luck at this point.
Yeah, because the thing is, here's the thing about Deathel. 16 arrows to the eye. You don't see an eye. That's because he's not opened it yet. You can only shoot him when he opens the eye, and it's completely random. And you can get, if you're lucky, and quick, 4 arrows per eye opening. And so far he's only gotten 7 hits, and he's getting pretty good eye luck. Oh, if you can get 1 or 2 more good eyes, he should have this. One more eye, and he can get it.
There it is.
Final hit.
GG to Giuocob.
Oh man, this is. And Spiraster's right behind him, also doing shovel strats to take out Moldorm, which is always kind of fun.
Now, ultimately, the time we are taking is not the time you see on screen. It is the time in SRL for Giuocob, finishing with an SRL time of 56:34. The same as what you see on screen. That's very good.
Oh, and that's actually a race PB for him by almost 2 minutes.
Indeed. I don't know if it's an actual PB or not. We'll find out later on
It's
in
a
the
race
interview.
PB. It's a race PB.
Now, Spiraster hoping for good Deathel RNG.
Oh, he's firing that first arrow a little bit too early, but he's got plenty of arrows to spare, so...
Taking a lot of hits, but at this point, I think he'll be alright. Deathel can be tricky with the arms swinging around, as they do get out of sync after about 7 hits. But Spiraster not having an issue, GG to him, another very close race.
Gosh, yeah, less than a minute apart, and Giuocob getting a 56 and Spiraster getting a low 57. Those are excellent race times.
He misses the stair. Oh, he's not missing his stairs. He's just goofing off now.
Spiraster,
what are you doing?
Come on.
Finishing with an SRL time.
You don't have to impress us.
30.
You don't have to impress us. You already got Wang Boys. It's fine. Oh man, that was a good race.
What a race! Indeed, we all knew it was going to be close. This race was hyped up, even in the LIDX Discord. We knew. We'll see if we can get these guys in here for some interviews. Giuocob looks like he will make it.
Let's take a look. See. Giuocob, GG, very well done. That was a great race.
That was a wild ride, yeah.
We knew it was going to be close, but wow. This race wasn't even decided up till near the end. So first of all, congratulations. Is that a PB for you?
It is not. My current PB is 55:38.
Still not bad. Within a minute.
Yeah, pretty good for that beginning. I will absolutely take the end time.
Welcome, Spiraster. GG, congratulations.
GG,
Still a decent run, even if it wasn't a win.
And you got Wang Boys, so congratulations.
Yep,
you were #1 in our hearts.
Yes, thank you for getting the Wang. Somebody forgot to go.
I just forgot to get it.
Oh wait, no.
That's new technology for me.
So does that mean I win by default? I mean, I'm not an expert on the rules.
I've penalized at least like 90 seconds for that.
That would be enough.
Yeah, because the gap was less than a minute. You guys were close up until the end, and then just...
This race, first of all, it was close all the way up until the end of D1 when things started going a little bit bad.
A little bit hairy. That hasn't actually happened to me in a while.
Yeah, so in case you missed it, Giuocob actually dying the Moldorm, I believe, on the last hit, too.
I killed him and died like it, yeah. I didn't realize I was on one hard.
That was unfortunate, but after that, I mean, you still kept up, even with awkward piece of power routing. You both are still very much neck and neck.
Yeah, I fixed as well as I could. I was like thinking as far ahead as I could with it. Like I was killing extra enemies on the way to D5 because I knew I was going to miss the first one. So I just wanted to get the second one as early as possible, which kind of worked out. I wanted it earlier than I got it, but it paid off to some extent.
Gotcha.
So you're right behind him exiting D5, which was a surprise, because normally not having piece of power there puts the one runner way behind the other, but you were still keeping up. So that was...
I actually had a really good D5 without piece of power, yeah, so...
Absolutely.
Yeah, Spiraster was actually ahead up until, let's say, about the very end, up until Rooster Skip.
Oh, did that get
Ouch!
Yeah,
Rooster Skip.
Oh, gosh.
Dang.
Rooster Skip.
Yeah, I lost a solid minute 30 seconds to Rooster Skip.
You lost 3 That's atrocious, yeah, that sucks.
Well, it really
lost
sucks
it
too
every way
because
you could.
I buffer Rooster Skip just so that doesn't happen.
Did
Yeah.
that get you?
And two things happened that never happened. The first time, I got the weird pixel when you're trying to buffer it.
There's a couple of those, yeah, where you just can't do it, yeah.
Yeah, and I knew it was the weird pixel, and I should have just done the hookshot again, but I gambled on it, and I lost. And then on the second one, it was all going great, and I got Bow Wow blocked, which doesn't usually happen when you buffer, but it happened this time.
Yeah, sometimes he just says, what's up, and just jumps in front of you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and like you're buffering it, so you can't get him out of the way. And,
Yeah, you just hope he leaves, and if he doesn't, you die.
Yeah, exactly. So that was rough.
Yeah, that sucks.
Although I golded D7, so I'm happy about that.
Oh, nice.
You
I
saved
go-
about 20 seconds compared to Giuocob and D7 between, just running it instantly, getting Goomba Surf
That
very
perfect
quickly.
Goomba Surf
I'll be
RNG.
honest, like
And,
I mean, obviously I
Giuocob's
golded it,
trouble.
right? I've never had a D7 like that before. Like, that was just crazy. I was going into it kind of on tilt, but I was like, that was a great pillar section. Those bomb triggers were great. I'm just going to keep going. And then I got first try Goomba Surf.
Excellent. I have not actually. That's next to my list of things to learn, just Goomba Surf.
It's not worth learning.
Not worth learning. Oh, okay.
I can agree with that.
So, I mean,
You
it's
say
worth
you save
learning. But,
time.
I mean, I won the gamble this time, but man.
Yeah, I've seen it troll people. So there's enough RNG in this game already.
Yeah.
Again, though, congratulations. That was a fun race. That was a very close race. I think we all knew it was going to be close. And
Yeah, I
believe
figured
at
it'd
this
be
point,
close.
you are both set to advance on to the next round. So there's
I
one
believe
match
so.
left in the group, and that's Spiraster and myself. And yeah, that's irrelevant at this point.
Gosh, Flame, you stop with that defeatist speak right now. Let me tell you a third
That's
time.
depressing. Don't do
Well,
that.
Spiraster is officially 2-0, and I am 0-2. So, yeah.
So what?
I'm also officially terrible at Rooster Skip, so
Yeah,
we'll
there
see
you
what
go.
happens.
There you go.
Well, I mean, if you get
Look.
trolled, there's nothing you can do. Bow Wow will get you, and you'll
Yeah.
lose. I hate Bow Wow.
Dang, I had a
like
good
this-
feeling about
I
that
like
run
this
all
run
the way
so
up
much
until
better
that
when we
point.
returned him. We just didn't have to worry about any of this stuff. Piece of power is a breeze. Rooster Skip is just do it at your leisure.
Oh, geez. And back then, it was like a 30-second detour to get the Rooster.
Yep.
No
It's
brainer.
like-
Yeah.
Get
Good
rid of
old
Rooster
days.
Skip. We can do it.
ban hookshot jumping.
Ban Villa Skip.
Just
Legacy only category.
change the out of bound rules.
We'll do Legacy next year.
Oh yeah.
I think
But
that's all I got.
with that, I think that wraps it up for Link to the not Link to the Past, Link's Awakening today.
Whoa.
We do have more Link's Awakening though later this week. On Thursday, we have 2 races for Link's Awakening. I'm actually not sure which ones they are though.
I'll give you a hint. Match number 1 involves Spiraster and myself.
That's
That's
All
a
right.
really good hint. Can I have 3 guesses?
I believe the other race is...
it's
I
Mashy
don't
and
remember.
Skyward Sam. That should also be a
Sounds
really
right.
good one.
That'll be, I don't know about Mashy. I think that's Sam's first match of the tournament, actually.
That should be a good round though, because that one's only has an hour allocated, which means that we're expecting them both to play through very quickly.
We shall see.
That's some pressure.
Yeah, no pressure,
No,
people.
no pressure though. Yeah, but so Spiraster and Giuocob, congrats again. Is there anything else you guys want to add for your adoring fans out there in speed gaming land?
No, just thank you guys for commentating. Kind of last minute there.
Thank you very
We had
much.
to-
Yeah, Crunchy dropped in like 50 minutes to go, so thanks a lot for coming in. And yeah, and Final Flame's been carrying the torch, or the flame as it were, the commentary a lot, so thanks a lot for what you've been doing.
Not a problem, my pleasure. Heck, y'all might see me again for Thursday commentary right after my run.
Or during your run, who knows?
I hope not for that one.
But yeah, it looks like hey, it looks like I get to commentate your run.
Oh god. Oh no. Alright. But for the rest of tonight, I believe that is it for this channel on Speed Gaming. Over on Speed Gaming 2, I started about a little over half hour ago, scheduled to be a Link to the Past entrance shuffle. So if that interests you, head on over to there. I'm sure that'll be hosted when we go offline.
Absolutely, it will. Oh,
You want to lead us out, Crunchy?
yeah, I think I can do that. Although I will just do a minor shameless plug here that if you want to watch me actually play a game tomorrow at 2 p.m. on Speed Gaming 2 is the continuation of the Metroid Fusion 100% tournament. So that should be a good one. It'll be me versus Eagle, who is astonishingly good at this game, so it should be a train wreck. But hey, whatever, it'll be great, it'll be fun. Come watch it. We have all sorts of stuff going on this week on Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2. So there's always something to do.
Be sure to check the schedule. It is below the stream as well as in chat in a moment.
There it is. But yes, for everyone out there for watching, thank you so much. Hope you had a great time. I know I did. Thanks to Final Flame for doing a lot of the heavy lifting for commentating and for being fun to have around for this one. I had a good time. GG to Giuocob Spiraster. Thanks as always to Feasel for keeping all this running and behind the scenes. And that'll do it for me.
See you guys next time.
All right, good night, all.
Good night, everybody.